sure it still exists, but when I was looking through lists of merit badges, I didn't really see it. Wilderness survival. That was my favorite one. Like,
That's
and
pretty important.
this is one of the important ones, and I was really good at it. Like if we're ever in a plane and it goes down somewhere, I got both of you. I got both of you. I know how to survive in the wilderness. The wilderness survival merit badge is so good I almost took it twice. Like it's amazing.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This episode is going to be so intense. Get it? What's up, Kid Cadet? How are you?
I'm great. Very excited. How are you?
Me? I'm doing wonderful. So excited to be here. What a fun episode this is going to be. And for anyone who's wrestling fan, a comedy fan, we got such a great guest tonight. Kid Cadet, what can we say about our guest?
Well, this is something that I've been looking forward to for a long time because not only is, like you said, is he a fantastic wrestler, comedian, but he is a genuinely good person. And to me, that's what's most important. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring to the stream at this time the ManScout, Jake Manning.
Hello, everybody. How are you? This is me, the ManScout. Clever pun earlier, Elgin. I appreciate it so much.
Yes, Elgin. Let's get it.
Already brownie points with me. See, there's another scout pun already. Brownie points.
Very fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. We really appreciate it. I also want to shout out your backdrop. Fantastic. I know you use it for ManScout Mondays.
Yes, and it's not just X-Men comics. There's a bit of a nuance to it because of the lighting setup. It's a little tough to see, but they're all X-Men comics that feature Cyclops on the cover. That's the caveat that I have for all of these. And I promise you, there's no like X-Men comics that are worth $1,000. I didn't like if it was like an older edition that's got some money to it. I found up a more beat up version because I'm literally nailing it to the wall, but it fills up my entire wall right now. And I used to have a WrestleFest arcade game over here, and I have now like sold that. So now I have all this wall space so I can start doing some more long box digging and get some more X-Men comics. But I've had some amazing fans for ManScout Monday. They've been sending in comics or seeing me at shows and giving me Cyclops comics that I didn't even know existed. So
that's really cool.
That's extremely cool, but it's very intense when you first walk in right away, but it's a great set for a live stream.
What's the reasoning behind everyone featuring Cyclops? Is that your favorite X-Men?
Oh, he's my favorite. I think he's the best X-Men. My girlfriend heard an earful of it this weekend, and she every time at the drop of a hat, I will always explain why Cyclops is the most intriguing and interesting X-Men of them all. And if you guys want me to go on this tirade for 20 minutes, I will do so, but I can condense it if you wish. But
yeah, give us the Sparks Notes, top 3 reasons.
Well,
three.
Okay. First of all, Cyclops. He's technically the leader, but nobody treats him as the leader. Always at the beginning of like every animated series or comic, he's like, hey, we should work together as a team. And Wolverine's like, screw you. And then the team gets into peril, and all of a sudden they work together as a team, and they're like, oh, working as a team works, but really good, guys. Good call, Wolverine, on working as a team. And Cyclops is like, dude, if you guys listened to me in the beginning, we would have smoked Magneto earlier. There would have been no issue. And then, like, he's always the one that's always in love, even though he's a bad boyfriend. He's usually the one he always gets the girl, but he's not the best boyfriend in the world. I'll say that. And technically, he's very tragic. You know, he lost his father in a weird set of circumstances, and then of course he took the flight was going down, and he got pushed out of this flaming plane with his brother, and on the way down he injured his brain, which made him unable to control his mutant powers, which made him unable to like basically see or anything like that, because he's supposed to be able to control, you know, his laser beam shooting out his eyes, but he can't because of his prior brain trauma. So and then of course he's become more dark and more militant and much more serious, and his evolution when he got more involved with Emma Frost, he's evolved and gone through this wonderful evolution, and that's why I think he's my favorite. Also, too, they'd also used to call him the Boy Scout, like, ah, screw you, Boy Scout. And I never thought that was an insult as a kid. I'm like, oh yeah, he's a Boy Scout like me. And then I realized they were just calling him a goody two shoes or a brown noser or whatever. So.
Well, okay, so he's your favorite. Who's your least favorite X-Men?
Ooh, least favorite. I think everybody says the easy answer is Jubilee. Like everybody, like they just want to just.
That is the answer.
Everybody rips on Jubilee, and I just. It's too easy, but it's probably true. I think that's probably the safest one right there. I'm not trying to do any clickbaity thing where like ManScout trashes Wolverine is the worst X-Men. Like I'm not looking to do with any of that tonight. But
okay,
well, but I think Jubilee is the universally disliked of all the X-Men.
Yeah, that's funny because like people that we've had on the show that do bring up X-Men, because it does come up quite frequently for some reason, that is always the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Steve wants to know, how pissed off were you when Cyclops got killed in X3 Last Stand?
Trigger warning.
Trigger.
Why are we gonna tell the Phoenix story and then just poof, Cyclops? Like he's the best part of it. And every time they've tried to do the Phoenix story in the movies, they've never really got it as good as the animated series did it in that 5-part series that they ran. The animated series did it the best. They did it like step by step and even did a nod to the comic. It was just perfect. The movie that they just released was okay. They at least got the fact that Cyclops is important to that, which most other avenues haven't, but at least they understood that. But the animated series still does it the best. And for them in X3, for him to just be like, no, this is a Wolverine story. Just not everything a Wolverine story, guys. All right.
As long as there's Hugh Jackman, it's a Wolverine story. Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Well, so would you say like outside of wrestling and comedy, that comic books and that whole world were fandoms that helped shape you growing up?
Oh yeah. Like I'll never forget a conversation I had with my father explaining to him the events that happened after Superman fought Doomsday. And I remember my father looking at me just like this, like with a glazed over look, just nodding his head because he's standing there trying to be a good father. He knows that he should stand there and listen to this diatribe of what happens with the different Supermen that appeared after the death of Superman. And he's just like, and he's clearly not listening, but he's just kind of present, much like it was for most of my childhood. He's just there and he thinks that's good enough. And he's doing that and he's listening to it. And he's just like, okay, well, I got to go to work now. And then just ran off. No follow-up questions. Probably thought his son was the weirdest person ever, because he basically told an entire timeline for the Superman comics for an entire year post Doomsday, which I don't blame him. But it is probably my fondest memory of my childhood with my father, is just going on and on and on and on about it. But that's how my brain has always worked a little bit. Like I've always, once I get a hold of something, I really sink into it. Even like I said, even with my childhood, here's something my father could relate with, is I really got into shot putting because my uncle was a world record holder in the shot put. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this track and field event, but it's very much a game of technique. Now, I didn't have the ability that other shot putters and throwers had. I was not 300 pounds. I couldn't bench 500 pounds. I was not a really good, like just big, bulky guy. I mean, the weight that I am right now is the weight I was in high school, and this does not look like a shot putter. But I was able to be one of the best shot putters in the state of Iowa because of technique and just the nuance. I would film myself over and over and over and over again, just putting the shot. Where was my foot at? Where was my arm at? Where was my head at? What velocity did I come at? What angle was this? And just the nuance of that. And then taking that with pro wrestling, the nuances that I am, like anybody that's taken any of my training classes, they'll tell you that it's very specific, like Bill Belichick-esque, like down to a detail where I'm like, okay, when you do this, you're going to be on this side of the ring now. In this set of circumstances, this is going to happen here. And you're going to be a little too close to the corner. So you got to adjust yourself in this manner here. Now that's only in a 16-foot ring, an 18-foot ring you're going to have. And I'm just like down to the detail and the inches of everything that I do.
Very meticulous. Yeah.
I'm extremely meticulous. And if you've ever seen me in matches, and it's the most frustrating thing, you can see me thinking too much. Like if you see some of my matches, you'll see like I'm not really in the performance. I'm more thinking of where I am in the ring, what's relation to what's next, and it becomes very calculated. And I think that's always been a biggest critique of mine, that I'm not very much in the moment, because I'm very much in the details, and I get locked in it sometimes. But
well, you're a perfectionist. That's good.
And that's even something I had to learn, even with comedy, is that sometimes I would get in a situation like, okay, this word has to be said here, and this joke has to be said this specific way, and this word has to happen here, and there's to be this pause to it. And as I've gotten, older and done both of those things a little bit more, I understand that it's more of a performance. It's more of, it needs to feel organic every single time, even though you're faking it. At least that's why I tell my girlfriend every time that we get intimate. I just have to sometimes just fake it and make everybody believe that this is a very organic thing happening, and I'm not just going through the motions.
Got it. Well, since you didn't mention the shot put, obviously right now the Olympic Games are happening. Do you have a favorite Olympic sport to watch? Is it the shot put?
It's got to be track and field events, but I mean, shot put gets like maybe 15 seconds out of the entire spectrum of things. Been kind of enjoying the swimming ones for whatever reason. I don't know.
As I get older, me too. I'm like super into swimming this year. I'm
also
such an adult.
The technology of how they film it with the graphics and present it, and their ability to also there's some really unique storylines going on in the swimming this year. So I think that's been pretty fun to watch. I think everybody was kind of expecting to see the Olympics, but now with Simone like off to the side now and on the shelf, I think gymnastics kind of taking a step back. It's interesting to see skateboarding as an Olympic event, but
yes, it was until the guy got the skateboard in a place where it shouldn't be, and then that was a fun time, wasn't it?
Yes, I know.
As a lady, I don't know what that's like, but it's cool to see Tony Hawk.
I know, and I think that's every time like the Olympic skateboarding comes up, it's like you have to have the obligatory like shot of Tony Hawk just going, like just looking around, like, oh yeah, I'm here. Oh, me. Okay. Like every time, it's always just Tony Hawk, not knowing he's on camera, just standing there like, oh, we have the skateboarding event. We had this happen today. By the way, here's Tony Hawk.
I love it so much. Oh my god. Well, Elgin.
Yeah. So yeah, you are ManScout Manning. That is your moniker in the wrestling world. And we actually wanted to ask you, and you did mention that you were a Boy Scout. But what did Boy Scouts do for you? Like, how many badges did you have, and like how far did you go in Boy Scouts?
Oh, I went all the way to Eagle, baby.
Okay, is that the top of Boy Scouts?
You're talking to an Eagle Scout, son. Don't say like, what do you think I'm gonna dedicate my life to a wrestling character where I was basically just a bottom feeder life scout? No, like I didn't get Eagle Palms, and I didn't get Brotherhood in the Order of the Era. I was just regular member of the OA. But
right, hold on, can you break it down? What are the levels of Boy Scout?
Well,
like from beginning to the top.
You start with, I think there's like, they've changed it a little bit. Like they've given qualifications to people that are like non-tenderfoots, like I think it's like just Scout, then it's tenderfoot, then it's Scout second class, then first class, then
X-Men first class.
Yes. Then
Weeblo? What's Weeblo?
Weeblo is a Cub Scout thing. Weeblo, there's Weeblos are Bearcat, Wolf, Bear, and then it's Weeblo first year, Weeblo second year. Then you become a Boy Scout. Then it's Tenderfoot, second class, first class. There's one before Life Scout, but there's one before Life Scout, and then Life Scout. Then there is Eagle Scout. If I'm not mistaken, it's been a while since I remember the ranks, but it's that one of them. I think it's, I want to say Star Scout, but I think that's the emblem that's on there, but it's not actually that one.
Do you still have your Boy Scout uniform from back in the day?
Well, believe it or not, the uniform that I wore up until like maybe the last year or so was my actual Boy Scout
That's
Scout
awesome.
uniform. Like I said, I'm still about the same size I was in high school.
Right.
That's
Maybe because
impressive.
maybe because I like drank too much coffee in high school. I've stunted my growth. Now, granted, I've been as big as 270, and I've been as low as 160, and then points in between. But I'm rocking about 192, which is about where I was senior year of high school,
Wow.
and so I was wearing the same shirt I'd wear. I just switched out the patches. But if you notice, I always announce myself from Troop 83, which is my actual scout troop. So because I had the 83 right there on the shoulder already, so I'm like, well, those are 2 less patches I don't have to buy. And then of course I had the American flag on the other side. So then I just created these badges, and I bought them like 1,000 of them because I thought I'd be selling them. And I have over the years, but now I've created my own design for the patches and their own special patches, because if I would ever be on TV, I can't be walking out there with, copyrights and Boy Scouts things. See, I was even thinking about this like years ago, like logos and copyrights. Like, it's a little funny that I'm out there with like an actual Boy Scout like manual. But like I got like a Bear Scout one right now that looks really cool, and it's an older one, so it looks a bit more official. So I feel like I'm okay because it's like a rank. But what I try and do sometimes is cover up the Scout part of it, or I'll take like a black marker if I have the ability to mark out the black marker if it says Boy Scouts of America, so you don't see that for logo issues. So
why not make your own ManScout manual?
I don't know if I felt like I was an idiot for making 1,000 ManScout badges. I'm still sitting on those. I'm finally seeing the end of it, though. I'm finally seeing daylight on it. But like when I first got them, and I got them like iron-on ones, like I had this really great idea, and I just found like my old merch bag that had a bunch of them in there. My idea was, because like Boy Scouts wear the neckerchiefs with the slide and everything like that.
Yeah.
And my thought was to sell those as part of like merch. So I had a bunch of them made, and I had these iron-on badges, and I was just like ironing a bunch of them before my shows, and I'd sell them for like $10-15 or whatever it is, or 20 and you get a free picture, whatever my deal was with those. And I'd wear a bunch of those, and that my thought process, I just make a bunch of those. But merch was not that great in 2007, so nobody was really interested. So I just sat on this like box of Boy Scout badges forever. And then I was like, well, I'll just try and sell these like 5 a piece. And then merch got really good around 2015, and people have been buying them up left and right. So much in fact, I've run out of the iron-on ones, and now I've got the regular straight badges. And of course, like everybody's got a cool denim jacket now, or they're looking for patches and stuff like that. So kind of fashion caught up with me a little bit for me to sell a few of them. And of course, I got ones that say trained and ManScout, and then the one with the emblem on them. So that was something to a lot of money to sink in right away. So the idea of actually, fabricating a book, just one book in particular, I don't know if I'm ready to find that or do that. And also too, I'm sure it's got to have some sort of words. What do I even say?
What are words?
What are words?
What are words even?
So I don't know.
Well, okay, what would you say is like the actual craziest badge that exists? And what do you think is a badge that doesn't exist but should?
Oh, this is an interesting thing. I looked at this recently because I think somebody asked me something similar to this, and it made me do a little bit of research. But the merit badges now are buck wild. Like, they are like the weirdest ones. They're like Twitter merit badge. Like, there's just like they have like updated them. Like, there's probably a live streaming one, believe it or not. I'm almost positive there is.
TikTok?
Like a Twitch badge or something.
Yeah, like they're like there's stuff like that they've tried to modernize stuff, and I was just like, oh no, this is a horrible idea. And I remember like the equivalent of what that would be like we had a telecommunications badge, and that like was like, and I remember like seeing because you would get these merit badge books that would basically tell you all the requirements and the information. They're almost like textbooks for whatever badge you're trying to earn. And I remember the telecommunications one was basically the computer merit badge, and they were talking about the punch card system, and it was so outdated even in 1995. Like it was laughable how outdated it was, because Windows 95, and that's not how computers work. But that was the merit badge that was for computer science or whatever it was. That's the thing. Like some of those computer science and those technology merit badges, they've come out of the woodwork, but now they're at such a place right now that it just seems peculiar. There's probably an Instagram merit badge, or there's just weird ones like that have popped up out of nowhere. And some of the more traditional ones, like I can't say I'm sure it still exists, but when I was looking through a list of merit badges, I didn't really see it. Wilderness survival, that was my favorite one. Like
that's pretty important.
This is one of the important ones, and I was really good at it. Like if we're ever in a plane and it goes down somewhere, I got both of you. I got both of you. I know how to survive in the wilderness. The wilderness survival merit badge is so good, I almost took it twice. Like it's amazing. So
there's a show on History called Alone. Have you ever heard of it? It's about people being dropped in the middle of nowhere, and most of the contestants on the show are like wildlife or survival experts. But you're saying like you'd probably do really well on a show like that?
Oh yeah, I think I'd do okay. Like I'm not gonna say, oh, I'd rock it. I'm like, I think I would survive. Like I have the ability to know how to survive, and that's definitely something I learned over this past pandemic. No matter what is put in front of me, I will kind of do okay. And that was another thing too that really kind of like when everything really kind of came down, and I didn't know how the world was gonna shake out, and I'm kind of somewhat pessimistic. I'd like to be more of an optimist, but I probably at nature very pessimistic. I was like, well, this is Armageddon. And then all of a sudden I got really freaked out. I'm like, I don't have my bug out bag ready. So I proceeded to create what I refer to as a bug out bag, which is basically a bag full of enough food and supplies for me to survive for 2 weeks in case absolute everything hit the fan. I have a nature preserve in my backyard. I was just going to hop the fence, live in that nature preserve for about 2 weeks, see how the lay of the land goes, and then just start ravaging and scrounging like it's The Walking Dead. Like that was my plan. I was good to go for that. So
what would your weapon of choice be in a Walking Dead scenario?
Oh, I'm glad you did that because I had a lot of debate about that. I have an aluminum baseball bat. That'd probably be my first go-to, but I also had a nice hatchet, which if you've seen any of my videos recently, I have this nice little short hatchet. I don't know exactly how I got this hatchet, but it was in like my laundry room for a while. It's good. It does the job when you need a hatchet. I'm pretty accurate with it. I've used it a couple of times, so it'd be that aluminum baseball bat to kind of ward people off right away. And I've got the hatchet for close up, and then of course my grandfather's pocket knife. So those are my,
trifecta.
That's my breakdown of how it goes through succession.
Elgin, what's yours?
My weapon of choice, I probably have like probably a machete. I think that would be a go-to weapon that not only you can like clear brush out of the way, but you can have a good enough distance. And I'm a big like Jason Voorhees fan, so like machete all day. That's my.
Anything that's not reloadable that you can use again that gives you a little bit of distance. That's how I'm with the aluminum baseball bat, which was always my home security system. I'd always keep that close to my bed in case. So yeah, I'm set up that way. I'm not a big gun person, so I do that and use that, and if I need to get a firearm, I'll beat somebody from behind to go get it.
I like those tactics. Well, Elgin?
Yeah, we want to talk about your wrestling career. And we know that, the ManScout is part of your persona. And I had a question like, do you have any nightmares or recurring nightmares about wrestling or about your wrestling career, or like, I don't know, like forgetting your gear or forgetting, I don't know, lyrics to a song or something like that? Do you have any instances that can pop up in your mind when it comes to that? Like any recurring nightmares you have in regards to your wrestling career?
I'm afraid nobody will care about the thing that I'm doing. And that's not a nightmare. That's a daymare, a wake mare. That is a fear that I have walking around in life.
Like
No,
they won't get it, or
no, it's just they don't want me there.
Mm.
Somebody, it's like the old Mr. Show thing where like Hollywood would just tap you on the shoulder. I'm like, yeah, you're done. You need to leave. You need to leave entertainment right now. Like I'm just waiting for somebody to. It's that imposter complex. I believe it's imposter syndrome, where you're just like, you feel like somebody's just going to tap you on the shoulder and be like, you're not supposed to be here, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't know I wasn't allowed to wrestle or do comedy or anything. I'll leave now. Sorry. It's a little bit of that, like all the time, and I walk around with that, and it probably like doesn't. It's probably not the most healthiest or productive thing, and probably is the thing that's the most detrimental to me, more so than anything else. It's probably the thing that holds me back from everything. And like I said, it's not really a nightmare, but it's definitely something that keeps me awake at night. It's definitely something that I'm fearful of. It's something that I carry with me a lot, and you see it in my speech. Something that I've had to work with a lot personally is to avoid negative speak when it comes to things like that. That's something that's very hard for me because I have a very self-deprecating humor, because I don't like, I don't like to punch down at anybody, and I don't like taking shots at anybody. That's why people always try and book me in roast battles and think, oh, you're a wrestler, you're good at roast battle. I'm like, no, actually I'm not, because that's not the type of comedy I am. That's really not the type of wrestler I am. I'll always take a shot at myself. I'll always make fun of myself. I'd rather punch. If somebody gave me the option to punch somebody else in the face or punch myself in the face, I would always pick myself.
Yeah.
Like there's
Well,
very few people.
They say self-deprecation is the cornerstone of comedy, and that's the same thing I do in my comedy. I want people to laugh at me with me, like, and that's, I think what you're saying is a commonality that a lot of people, entertainers and performers, feel like. They want to feel wanted and feel like validated in what they're putting on stage or putting in the ring. So I wouldn't feel bad about feeling the way you do, because I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, and but I feel like I work overtime with it. Like I think it exists, but I work overtime. I'm the hardest working at like punishing myself mentally. Like I work way too. Like I wish I could just take that and put it more towards some of the other things that I do. But man, like the time that I spend just beating myself up is just way too much expended energy. And if I just would just believe in myself a little more, it'd probably make my life a lot bit easier. But at the same time too, like you need that. Like every great performer and even athlete like needs that thing. Like Tom Brady right now is sitting at his home thinking of things bad to say about himself, and then putting that thought or that whatever and attributing that to a person. Like, oh, I know those people in Atlanta, they think they can beat us. I know that defensive tackle in New Orleans, he thinks he can sack me, and I'm not as good as I used to be. Well, I'm going to show him. Meanwhile, that guy or the defensive tackle's like, yeah, I just hope the scheme works out well, and I'm getting to play against Tom Brady. But in Tom's mind, he has to create that, much like Michael Jordan's mind, which we saw in The Last Dance. That story of that Washington Bullets player.
Good.
That story with the Washington Bullets player that got like 35 points when Michael got like 12 points. And allegedly, as that player was walking off the floor, he told Michael Jordan, like, hey, good game. And Michael Jordan took that as a slight, and they played him the next day, and Jordan got 35 points in the first half. And then there was this story about how, like, that Jordan made that story up, that guy saying good game. And somebody asked him about it, and Jordan's like, oh, yeah, I made that up just so I could get motivated. And,
wow.
And sometimes that's the thing that keeps me hanging on to that imposter feeling, that feeling of I don't belong, because I think a lot of wrestlers are lazy. I think a lot of comedians are lazy. And I think as people get a little bit of success, they get complacent. And I feel like if I become complacent or I don't have that negative feeling about myself, I won't push me to these weird places that I need to be to create something special. And that everything that I've ever done worthwhile, it's came from there. But then I need to know when to take the foot off the gas. But at the same time too, like those people that I just mentioned, Tom Brady and Michael Jordan, they never took their foot off the gas of anything that made them successful. So
true. That's such a good documentary. And like, weird side note, Elgin, do you remember when we randomly met
Dennis Rodman?
Dennis Rodman.
Yes.
like the place where I live now, like there was this like random burger bar, and Elgin and I were the only two people in there. And then this guy walks in, gets behind the bar, and it was Dennis Rodman. And we're like, what is
it was so random.
Very bizarre. Did that really happen? Or was that just like a hallucinogenic dream?
It could have been a glitch in the Matrix. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, did you say Dennis Rodman's name 3 times? Because he is the real life Candyman. If you say Dennis Rodman's name 3 times, he will just appear. Yeah, he'll just appear.
Oh my God. I'm going to have to try that later. Also, very excited about the new Candyman movie. It looks phenomenal.
Yeah, it looks great for sure. Like it's going to be very interesting and fascinating. I feel like there's going to be a little twist to it, but I'm open to it. Like I feel like there's going to be a twist to it that everybody's going to get pissed off about, but I'm ready to enjoy it. I'm ready to experience it. I'm ready to see it. And I don't really like horror, but
oh gosh.
But see, like that late 80s, early 80s, that VHS like horror. Like one of my favorite movies is Return of the Night of the Living Dead. Like it is hands down one of my favorite absolute movies. I mean, like just the ridiculousness of it. Just the zombies are like, you know what? They're just like, why are we doing this? Because I just need to eat brains. Why? Because it makes me feel better. Like that's all the explanation you need. And then the soundtrack is badass. Like just cool, awesome.
It is classic.
Yeah,
classic. All right, Elgin, why don't we each ask one more question and we can go into the first game?
Okay. Who do you want to go first? Me or you?
You can go first.
All right, cool. All right. So I want to ask you, comedian to comedian, I want to ask you, how do you feel that comedy adds or contributes to your wrestling career?
It's to me, I think it's another like nice thing that differentiates me. And also too, I love comedy. Like that's another thing too. I like anybody who's a comedian. I don't want to be like, well, comedy is just my plan B when wrestling didn't work out. That's not it at all. Like I vividly remember growing up, like the few times I would stay up late on Friday nights and watch Letterman and the comedians that would come on at the end of Carson. Like the image of Richard Lewis, like running his fingers through his hair while he would say a bit just always stuck with me. And I'll never forget when I saw Richard Pryor do Live on the Sunset Strip, the one where he's got the all red suit after he just got burned up. And it was like the first time I ever saw an hour's worth of comedy. And I just like, man, that's incredible. And then Killing Them Softly with Dave Chappelle. It's just one of those things that like, it's something I always wanted to do to some extent, much like wrestling. Like those are the two things I wanted to do, is be a stand-up comedian and a pro wrestler. And now I find myself, doing both of them. And
that's awesome.
I know that I can't do wrestling forever. I am very much, pragmatic. I'm very realistic. I'm on 18 years now. If I'm still in the same exact spot that I am right now, and like nothing has really changed in my career, 2 years from now, I'll probably just put it there and then focus more on comedy, because unfortunately right now, the thing with comedy is it has to take a back seat to my wrestling career, because there's only so many drops left in that gas tank, and I've got to squeeze every last drop out of it. But it's still, I do it for the same reason I do pro wrestling. I just want to make people laugh. Because if you make somebody laugh in that moment that they're laughing, they like you.
It's so rewarding. It's the best feeling.
But the thing is, like, they like you in that moment. Your worst enemy, if they tell you a joke and you laugh in that moment, you don't hate them. And as a kid that always wanted to be accepted, always wanted friends, that's always afraid that do people like me or not, when they laugh, they like you. That is immediate and for sure. And that is why I've leaned more towards comedy wrestling. That's why I do stand-up comedy, that I know in that moment people like me, and that I'm just looking for those moments of affirmation of people liking me. And that's what comedy produces every single time. Where sometimes in wrestling you have to be a bit more serious, it has to be a bit more like fireworks, and you have to have the oohs and the ahs and not so much the ha-ha-has. But comedy is all the ha-ha-ha, and that is the defining factor of that. Right. And once you have seen somebody just absolutely like
crush it, yeah,
you just like, gosh, I gotta figure out a way how to do that. Like, I saw Joey Diaz at the Comedy Zone here about 3 or 4 years ago, and I'll never forget. It was like he was getting into this story about Ralphie May, but he just went on this side tangent that just was unbelievable. Like, people were laughing so much, I was concerned that they were, because they were coming so fast, that somebody was going to laugh and not get enough breath and die. And that's when I realized, like, oh, that's why they call it killing. Because I'm around all these open micers that are like, well, I killed tonight. And I just thought that was a generic term. And then I go, oh, after seeing Joey Diaz, I know why they call it killing, is because these people can't get any air because they are laughing too much. That is why they call it that. Yeah. They might die because of this man's words. And it's like, gosh, like you see that, and that makes you want to write more. That makes you want to work on your jokes more. That makes you want to perform better every single time, is when you see something like that. And just like, that's how I feel about comedy. And then like I said, it pushes me. It makes me realize that I have to work a little bit harder on everything. And like I said, I want it to be a nice compliment. And I've said this on multiple interviews before. My ultimate dream and ultimate goal, and I thought it was taken away from me, but I'm hoping we're getting very close. Who knows what these variants are going to do, but the idea of live shows is very important to me. And I just I like 3 or 4 years ago, I did this thing where I booked a run of 10 days. It was like stand-up show, wrestling show, stand-up show, wrestling show, stand-up. And it was like a loop from it was the most absurd loop ever. It was like through Memphis to Kentucky to Dayton, Ohio, to Chicago, to Des Moines, Illinois, to Indianapolis, Indiana, to Nashville, Tennessee, and then Asheville on the way back home. But like, I came back with more money than what I set out with. Yeah. Some days were great. Some days weren't. Like one day, there was one day where I was performing in front of truckers at a hotel bar, and they could care less.
But you're on the road. You're doing what you want to do and what you love. You're doing your own tour. That's the dream, man, for a lot of people. Yeah.
And if that was my life, was just performing in front of crowd here or there, obviously playing clubs and theaters and all those other things, nice, but it was like I said, at like a hotel bar in Cookeville, Tennessee, and then wrestling in Des Moines, Iowa, or just like, I'll stop off and do some open mics in Chicago and hit 3 of them in one night. I'm like, oh, this bit got better by the end of the night. Absolutely. I started off and it was an idea, and now there's an actual punch to it, or I finally put the button on that thing because I said it 3 times in a row and figured it out, and it was in front of comics. So if they laugh, then it's going to work in front of paid audiences and those things. And I was like, man, that's what I want to do. That's what I want my life to be like. I wish if I could find a way to be what I do. That's what I want to do. And obviously, the more I do it, the better I get it, the bigger the audiences be, and the more money I make off of it. And
it's going to happen, bro. It's going to happen. Definitely.
And I'm excited to get to see you do comedy again live, because that's very exciting.
I feel like I'm better now too at it. Like I feel like something happened when I was doing those VGTs that I think it was confidence in believing in myself and believing in the words that I had, that if we go on a tangent, I can always come back, and the faith in me just being funny, where I think every other time I did stand up was like, oh no, the jokes are funny, where now I feel like there's something switched inside of me where it's like, no, I'm funny. And I think once I did that in my mind, my performances have gotten better. Now, some days I lose sight of that, but when I have that focus and mindset of like, no, it's not the jokes that are funny, it's you that are funny, then that's where I feel like I've gotten so much better. So anybody that's seen me before, I feel like I'm at least about 25% better just by putting that.
That's a good percentage.
Hell yeah.
So that's how I feel about it. And for me to be as hard on myself as possible to say like, oh yeah, 25% better right away, then that's a big leap already.
That's awesome. Well, hopefully we'll get to see you and Elgin on a show together someday. That would be
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we did a show.
together.
What was it in Raleigh or something? We ran
Yes.
the comedy show together, and
Yes.
I loved your stuff, man. I could only imagine how much better you've gotten since then. 'cause that was, like,
25%.
a long time ago.
25. And also too, like some of those GalaxyCon ones, I tried to be as middle of the road as possible. I think my darker, more edgier stuff is my funnier stuff because I feel like that's who I am. Like
Yeah.
I'm the uncle that will come over and tell you a joke, and I'll do it in private just because I don't know how it's going to turn out. But also, too, I don't want anybody to hear the things that I said, and then you have to like keep a straight face on what this person just said. I feel like those are a lot of my bits, but I always try to keep it in the rails because Lisa's always been very nice and kind when she gives me time. And sometimes there are kids dressed up like Star Wars characters in the front row. I don't want to. I don't want a young kid dressed as Captain America to have questions when we leave a comedy show.
I was telling Elgin before this, like I feel really blessed. In a couple weeks, I get to do a panel for Bob Saget, and I'm like, which Bob do I get? Am I getting Full House or the Aristocrats? You know, like there's a lot of space in between there.
I always love those stories of him and I heard one that was like him and Dave Coulier were on the set of Full House and they were talking and they didn't realize they were mic'd up.
I'm writing this down.
There was a group of mothers that were like horrified at the things that these two stand-up comedians were talking about.
Okay, Dave Coulier will be there too, so it's definitely something I'm going to ask. All right, do we want to go into our first game?
Yes, let's do it.
Elgin, you want to do the setup?
Well, which one are we going to do? Which one do you think we're doing?
Not the one with multiple things. The other one.
Okay, cool. Okay, so this one is called the ManScout Society, right? That's what we're doing. The ManScout Society.
Yes.
Okay, so are you afraid of the dark? Well, this is our own. It's the ManScout Society. So we want to talk about. We understand camping and campfire stories are a big part of camping. So we wanted to come up with a few scenarios and just see, right? How you would handle it.
It's Mad
Libs.
Libs.
We're doing okay. So we're creating a Mad Lib campfire story.
Yes.
So we're gonna fill up all the words, and then we'll have a spooky campfire story created by us.
All right. Okay. And also shout out to Jude for that incredible graphic, which he did not let us see until right now. And that is awesome. Yes, fantastic. We can send it to you. It's yours now. So
there we go.
Society is now yours. Okay. So ManScout, an adjective.
Adjective, super.
Okay. Elgin, an article of clothing.
What's that little thing called? The handkerchief that you tie around your neck, ManScout? What's it called?
A handkerchief, neckerchief.
Neckerchief. There you go.
Okay, ManScout. I need a part of the body. We can keep it PG-13. We can,
I'll keep it in the rails. Let's say pinky toe.
Oh, okay. Elgin, plural noun.
Plural noun. I don't know. S'mores.
Oh, yum. That one feels like it's gonna fit. Okay. Noun, Jake.
Noun. Bear? Is that a noun? Like what am I?
Yeah, that's a noun.
Okay, I'm making sure. Sorry, the whole Kevin Nash, like just look at the adjective has got me all thrown off as far as like words.
No,
he used that wrong. So
no, you're perfect. Okay. Elgin, plural noun.
Oh, another plural noun.
Person, place, or thing.
I know. Okay. Boy Scouts.
Okay. Jake, article of clothing.
Article of clothing. Speedo.
Oh, okay. Elgin, verb ending in ing. Verb, action word.
Kissing.
Ooh, okay. Jake, plural noun.
Plural noun. No, don't do that. Sorry.
I said go for it.
No, I was gonna put mothers against drunk drivers.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Elgin, animal.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Wolverine.
Okay.
It's an
Jake,
animal.
It
Okay.
is. It is.
All
Jake, plural noun. I need a plural noun from each of you.
Plural noun. Snails.
Perfect. Elgin, a plural noun. And
Um,
Jake, your next one's a verb.
Okay.
Person, place, or thing, right?
Yep.
Cabins.
Okay.
I'm just throwing out random stuff. This is gonna be so
Yeah.
weird.
Swimming for me. For my verb.
Okay. And then the last one, Elgin, a silly word.
A silly word. Can I pass?
Yeah.
ManScout, silly word.
Persnickety.
Ooh, let's see if I can spell that. Persnickety. Okay. This is the Conspiracy Theorist Survival Guide.
Okay.
Here we go. Here's a list of super survival tips from our resident conspiracy theorists. Protect your thoughts by making a stylish tinfoil neckerchief to wear on your pinky toe. The FBI is recording all of your s'mores, so you might as well throw your cell phone in the bear. The government is spraying chemtrails to control the Boy Scouts of the population, so wear a gas Speedo to avoid breathing any mind-kissing chemicals. Trust no one. Most mothers against drunk driving in positions of authority belong to the Illuminati and are actually
That would work way too well.
but they're actually Wolverine people in disguise.
Nice.
Yeah.
Companies will try to get you to buy their snails by exposing you to subliminal cabins hidden in their advertising. To avoid commercials altogether, just swim your television. Okay. Scientists say aliens aren't real, but that's a load of persnickety. The truth is out there.
Totally.
There it is.
That
We
was
did it,
fun.
guys. That was
good.
fun. I feel like I'm 11 all over again.
And my Speedo is always filled with gas. Just whenever I go swimming, always filled
Lovely.
with gas.
Lovely. We're learning a lot. And I see you found your campfire.
I got my
flames there.
campfires for the segment. Yeah, I had them ready.
Where did you get those?
This is
Serious
ridiculous.
question.
I don't know. My wife found them online, and we used them for like a birthday party as a decoration, and then we just have them on hand.
I wish I would have known that they existed, because back when I used to have an interview show with the company that I used to work for, it was called Fireside Chat, and everybody's first question to me would always be like, "Where's the fire at? Like, we're supposed to do a campfire?" I'm like, "Whatever, man." Like every time, and I wish I just would have had that. Like I was looking for something like that. So
I'll send you a link, but I mean, you don't need it anymore.
yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll just
All
search
right,
paper campfire.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Between two flames. Genius.
I love that. Okay, so here's our next game. I guess I'll try to set this one up. Elgin started to before, but he got him confused. Okay, so this one is called ManScout's Survival Tips. That is obviously you in the Revenant.
That is incredible. I love that I have, like, that is a picture from my last set of AEW like tapings that I was on. Like Speedy got that picture, and man, do I have the douchiest looking look on my face. Yeah, that's incredible. That is incredible graphic right there.
Shout out to Jude once again.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess the way this one's going to work, right, Elgin? We're going to give the ManScout some scenarios, and we'd like to know how you would go through said scenarios. Okay.
Well, yeah, and also if you want to, we'll give you a little scenario, and then you can like cut a promo and then explain how you would deal with this scenario.
Okay. So the first one is, so the wrestling bear, Terrible Ted, approaches you in the woods and takes your campfire beans. What do you do?
takes my campfire beans. I assume the beans in the can that I was going to cook a little bit later on that was in my bug out bag. Well, now I don't have my beans. So that's a little bit less protein than what I had allotted for the 2 weeks while the looting is about to commence here in about 5 more days. So I need to make sure that I am proteined up. So I'm going to have to hunt that bear down and take out a piece of its flesh. Not a lot, just enough to accommodate the amount of beans that were lost, protein per pound, to accommodate for that bear eating my campfire beans that we're going to cook in the nice Bush's baked beans can right there on the fire that I started, because I'm a master fire builder. So I got to take a chunk of flesh out of that bear. He may be a little pissed off, but as soon as he looks at me, I'm be like, fair trade. Fair trade.
Fair trade. Well, I mean, no beans. It means less gas in the Speedo.
Yeah, so. Less gas in the Speedo, and that's important. That's gonna keep me warm, especially like if I'm out in my nature preserve in December. Even in North Carolina, Decembers do get cold.
Wow. Okay, that was a good first one. Elgin, you want to throw another scenario out? We have a few. Let's try to get through 3 or 4 of them.
Okay. The park ranger shows up to your campsite and says he smells some funny smoke coming from your fire. How do you get the park ranger to leave without giving you a citation?
I want to know that park ranger's qualifications. You'll see your paperwork, buddy. Let's see your paperwork. I want to see your paperwork. Are you just going to come up here and is this what you do, park ranger? Just come up to fine, upstanding individuals and shake them down for whatever medicinal products that they have so you can go sell it on the black market? How do I know that you're not a corrupt park ranger? How do I not know that you're the Josh Brolin of park rangers, just like the Josh Brolin from American Gangster? How do I not know that you're that? Trying to just shake down nice, wonderful, long-haired individuals that are on a nice camping trip that may or may not have, medical issues that can only be resolved by natural remedies, that may have just wandered out into the woods to possibly take acid to get some sort of realization of who they are inside. How do I not know that you, sir, are trying to shake us down and you're the criminal in the situation?
Whoa.
Nice.
Whoa. Flip that script.
All right, Kid Cadet, go. Next one.
Oh, me do the next one? Okay. You're in the middle of the woods, right? You're kind of like looking around. You look up, right? You're in the middle of a Blair Witch scenario. There's a bunch of little branches, like little people in the trees. Men. The stick men. What do you do?
Easy. What they should have done in the movie. Just remember your landmarks and work your way back out.
Oh,
that's just my mother got so mad at that movie. My mother, I watched that. This is back in the days where you had to buy the pay-per-view movie and you'd rent it because we didn't have video stores in existence where I was, because I lived in the middle of nowhere. Grew up in a town of 82 people, but we had DirecTV. I remember ordering the Blair Witch, and my mom came in when they were walking in the woods, and then a few minutes later, she was walking through the room again and saw that they were lost. And my mom goes, "This would never happen to you." And I go, "Why?" She goes, "What did they not do when they walked in the woods?" And like the little good ManScout that I was like, they didn't check their landmarks and get a direction when they were entering the woods. She goes, "Exactly. Whatever happens to these people in this movie, it's their own dumbass fault." And then she walked out and proceeded to do whatever moms do. Clean the whole house. I don't know.
Wow. God, now I feel like my whole life's a lie,
Yeah.
Now
if you just take a compass heading, okay, I'm walking in north. If I walk back south, watch your landmarks. What are my perfect example? Me and my girlfriend were on the beach. We just looked around like, oh, we're next to the water tower. So we never lost our tent that was on the beach because we just walked back to that water tower. You always check your landmarks, even in urban situations. Always check your landmarks.
This is like so educational. My life is forever changed. Now I'll never be in a Blair Witch situation.
Yeah.
It's good. All right. Let's do one more. Elgin, why don't you read the last one?
All right, cool. Here we go. All right. We find yourself in a little bit of conundrum here because you stumble upon Cyclops in the middle of the woods. But unfortunately, he started some forest fires because he misplaced his sunglasses. What do you do?
First of all, I give him a big old hug. And I just tell him, we're going to get through this, buddy. I know you would love to control the plasma beams that shoot out your eyes. And listen, I mean, you don't have to tell me about what you did to break Jean Grey's heart. I know that wasn't the right situation. You were under that whole psychological thing with Emma Frost. I get it. And everybody calls you a bad boyfriend. That's okay. Just big old hug. Let's get some shovels, get some pails of water, and let's just dig in and do this. And let's do this as a team, because I know you're always telling people to work together as a team. So let's do this as a team. Let's not go our separate ways and then it fail and then we come back together as a team and then we go pat Wolverine on the back. No, you and me, buddy. You and me. We're going to take out these force fires.
Oh my God. That was like beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I see a new X-Men franchise coming out, just like ManScout and Cyclops, like comedy.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. We'd rock it for sure.
I love it. Well, unfortunately, we've come to the end-ish of our stream. So before we wrap it up, a couple things we want to mention. We do have a graphic for ManScout Monday. So what do you want to tell us about your new show? 10 p.m. Eastern, YouTube, Facebook,
yes.
Instagram.
Yes, it is my attempt to save my career. I don't know. It's my attempt to do something unique and interesting. The elevator pitch of this show is early Letterman meets Chappelle Show meets BTE, being the elite. That is basically what this is a combination of those things. This is like a mixture of talk show, variety show. I'm probably even going to do some auctions sometime soon because I was pretty good at that at the last stream program that I was on. But regardless, like it is, I feel like this is kind of what Art of Wrestling was for Colt Cabana. I think this is going to be the thing that, like, I'm hoping this will be the thing that I'm defined for. This is a unique. This isn't like I edit a vlog. This isn't something like I edit and put together all of these skits or whatever. This is me being me, and it is what it is, and it's creative. It's bits. It shows off my comedic chops. We talk about wrestling. We talk about all kinds of things. We do a bunch of weird stuff. It's different. It's unique. It's interesting, is what it is. And like I said, you know, when Colt came out with Art of Wrestling, there were people that booked Colt just so they can get their name said on, you know, Art of Wrestling at the end when he would list his tour dates. And I'm pretty sure Northeast Wrestling loves the fact that I mention them every single week, but they're the ones that have pretty much booked me, the ones that got me booked up for the rest of the year. So all you guys that are ignoring my booking emails, if you want to get mentioned and have somebody talk about you every Monday night, well, guess what? You book me and I'll talk about your show. I might even film something at your show. I'll talk about how great it was to interact with your fans and how great those fans are. Maybe do a whole bit with your fans, with your local wrestlers. That's what it is. I'm hoping to do this. And obviously it streams live on YouTube, Facebook, and IG, even though the IG format is like this. Right. So sometimes the videos aren't quite there yet, but some of it is just me talking into a microphone. Like I had a wonderful bit or story that I told about meeting somebody who was quote unquote the owner of the Panthers at training camp, and she is not the owner of the Panthers, and she is a person that had security called on her actually just a day or two ago. But it was a funny story nonetheless. Wow. And you're going to hear a lot of that. You'll hear a lot of like things of like how my weekend is, because it's more about like the stuff outside the ring. And that's what a lot of the ManScout Monday is. There's bits like Ask Your Wrestler with George South. I have Freight Train cut promos on people. I'm also going to get a lot of my other $5 wrestling friends like Jeff Hart, Raider Rock, do some creative and unique things. I'm trying to get up with Dynamite right now. And then, of course, do stuff with Zane, Caleb. I may even have guests. I don't know. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm trying to make it as interesting as possible. Just a nice little half an hour in your evening, very like late night show. So I know I've given much longer than the elevator pitch right now, but it is an ever evolving thing. And as I said, I think this is going to be something unique and interesting. I have a lot of people that are paying attention. I have some like I said, Colt checks in on me every once in a while. Chris Hero checks in on me. I heard Rocky Ramiro checks in on me. Like people are kind of curious of what this is and what this is about. But I think this isn't a podcast. This isn't a vlog. This isn't like some edited YouTube thing that everybody else is doing. This is live. This is
In Technicolor.
in Technicolor. This is
Nice.
if you're slightly entertained by me, I think you will most certainly like ManScout Monday. And that's what it is. It is uniquely me. It is all me. It is basically an infomercial for me.
That's awesome, man.
10
And who
p.m.
knows you better than
Standard
you?
Time. So
Well,
No, it sounds like
congratulations.
it's going to be awesome. Yeah, for sure. We can look forward to seeing like where it goes and where it grows.
for sure.
And one of the other things we want to mention, and correct us if we're wrong, the Wrestling Revolver, October 30th? Is this a thing?
I think so. Sammy, like in the middle of my ManScout Monday, he's just like, share this video, dude. And I'm like, all right. Like, and I saw that, and I'm usually on every Revolver show. So I guess I'm booked for it, which thankfully it's not on the weekend that the Carolina Panthers are playing, because I have to be there for every one of those home games because I'm one of their merch guys now. So I guess that's the thing. I also have a lot of really good bookings that I'm not allowed to talk about yet. Because they're like, don't announce this yet. Don't announce that yet. But
What does it rhyme with?
You don't have to answer that.
Mucha,
Okay.
Libre, and
Okay.
Laughs.
Okay. Got it.
Possibly.
Cool.
That's the rumor mill on that, and then I've got a couple other shows as well. There may be a gathering or two that I may be at. So like
with or without juggalos. Wait, what? Like juggalos?
Possibly, I don't know.
What?
There's some stuff locally I can't even talk about yet, and there's maybe a trip to San Antonio, Texas, where I will be shepherding Jeff Hart to a wrestling show, which will be a on the road series for ManScout Monday for sure. So
awesome. Well, we look forward to when we can actually know what they are, and I'm sure you will promote it, and that is very exciting. And Jude, I guess to close it out, wants to know your favorite Alkaline Trio song.
Well, it's hard to really pick. I have two that are very, very special to me, and they're on the Here from Infirmary. Actually, no, they're not. One of them was on the Here from Infirmary album, and I'll get to that one. But I have two. All in Black is definitely top two because I have painted my bedroom all in black with red trim. Because there's a lyric in that song that basically says, we talk about painting all the walls in your bedroom black and trimmed them in red. That is what I did because of that song. And boy, there are some women that have been repulsed sexually by my bedroom. But the ones that were not, they have seemed to have stood the test of time, at least the last 8 months. So it is very interesting. And then I doubled down on it. I painted my dressers all black and then painted the knobs red. I've got a red comforter with black sheets. Like I look like Anton LaVey. So as a sex dungeon is pretty much what it looks like.
Okay.
But all in black is probably up there. But for me, the one that hits me personally every single time is Armageddon.
Okay. Because
I got out of a 6-year relationship and it kind of really hurt me and made me really question my life, and I got really down about it. And then that person had to stay with me for 4 months after we broke up. And it was really rough. And if anybody's lived with an ex for a long period of time, like 4 months is a long time.
Oh yeah.
And like the weekend that she was going to move out, I saw Alkaline Trio was gonna play in Portland, Oregon. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fly to Portland, Oregon to see Alkaline Trio. And I met some stand-up comedians out there online and said, hey, I was going to be there. Can you give me a spot on your open mic? And like, yeah, sure. Come in. So I flew to Portland, did a couple open mic spots, met some really cool comics. Ian Albanese, who's just back running his open mic show every Monday night, at the High Dive. They're an amazing comic as well. He's really super cool. Wrestling fan as well. And I got to go to this Alkaline Trios show, and I remember being there, and I hate being those people that film while the concert's going on, but there's just this point in Armageddon where it just builds and where he goes, "You sing, we sing, Armageddon, let the light in," and everybody. It was just such a great crowd, and it just like built to this like tension of the song, and the crowd was so like electric, and I remember singing along with it, and I recorded this whole moment, and like right when the just explosion, like where it goes Armageddon, let the light in, like it felt like this weight that had been on my shoulders and in my chest and in my lungs for that 4 months, like just went out of me, and I could just deal with whatever bad, like I knew I was going to come home to an empty house, because when we broke up, I said, take it, whatever you want. And I was basically going to come home to a house that I didn't know if it was going to be completely empty. No idea. Because I just didn't care. I was so like bummed out about the whole relationship. But that moment, I realized whatever was going to come after that, after I got home from that trip, I was going to be okay. And that's why that song is really personal to me, because I saw him play it live on this trip, and it just really it's really emotional to me. I get a little emotional talking about it, and it's just hard to like really express what that feeling is. And it, like, I have that video of me just like finally getting over the break of a 6-year relationship, and like 4 months where I kept it secret from everybody. I didn't talk to anybody about it. So I had to carry that around. So it felt like I could let that all out and just be myself again.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
that.
thank you so much, man.
Elgin, how long did we live together after?
I'm pretty sure I moved out pretty. I mean, I tried to move out as fast as possible.
It's weird living with exes. We know, if anyone knows, it's us. But we're friends now. All is good. All right, before we do wrap this up, we're going to go over our upcoming guests that we have. I can't believe it's almost the end of July. So on Friday, we have La Ganja Estranja, if I can do my click. Next Tuesday, we have Alicia Taylor. Saturday, we have a bonus show with the fantabulous Kyle Kinane. Thursday, the 12th, we have Karen Carnival from X-Files. Then we're welcoming Levi Cooper. We also have Chelsea Green. And then we're welcoming back again Greg Proops. Got a lot going on. Jake, this is so much fun. Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much for having me on. I can't thank you guys enough. Just giving me time to talk about ManScout Monday, talk about everything I'm doing, and it's just such a pleasure. And I miss seeing both of you
for sure
at GalaxyCon. I miss being around you, and like anything for you, Kid Cadet. Like, and anytime I get to do anything with you, like I still have fond memories of the horror con that we did, where you were dressed up like Elvira and just coming up with every sexual innuendo we possibly could. Like anything to do anything with you, for sure. Elgin, hopefully we can share a stage some time again in the future. And
we will.
I look forward to it again. It's just really good connecting with you guys, as we do here in a virtual space. You know, connecting with people during all of this, that in this virtual space we get to do it. And thank you for inviting me into your virtual space.
Well, thank you. And that was so sweet. And until we meet again, I guess we'll see y'all on Friday, and make sure to tune in to ManScout Monday on Monday. And we'll see you guys real soon. Bye, everybody. Bye.